Mars mysterious and mysterious Earth's companion. From a long time ago, the moon served as a heavenly calendar. Those who believe see it as God's travelers, as a lamp in heaven, and as a lighthouse for seafarers. People have noticed the moon's influence on the Earth, causing tides and tides. And there's even a hypothesis that the moon is a part of the Earth's own child that's torn away from it. Galileo was the first to consider the moon seat here. But people don't see enough, they want to go to war. The flight of a mythological Icarus is the eternal symbol of a man's aspiration to heaven. Incredible ways to reach the moon created a fantasy on a magic ship. On the bird. Aries on the balloon. The death of the balloon didn't stop the people. They were supposed to launch a projectile with a centrifugal force. Jules Verne fantasized from a gun to the moon. There's no missiles. Konstantin Eduardovich Tsiolkovsky pointed the way to the moon in the rocket. By launching artificial Earth satellites, spaceships, and interplanetary stations, the Soviet Union has opened a star era of mankind and a new history in the exploration of the moon. A consistent study of the nearest celestial body was initiated using a rocket. The moon was also conducted by United States experts using spacecraft. Of the 9 machines, Ranger 3 took pictures of the moon when they approached the surface of the moon. Soviet science has begun a new storm of the moon. On May 9, the 1965th year, Luna-9 began. Run one after another. Luna's automatic stations are 6 by 7 by 8. Flight control systems and soft landing systems have been consistently and appropriately developed. There is no atmosphere on the moon, and only rocket engines have to be used to land there. The interplanetary automatic station, Sun-Tri, made a major contribution to the study of the moon. Upon reaching the heliocentric orbit, Sun-3 overtook Venus and took a photo of her back of the part of her that had not been taken in the 1959 this year. My images have been transmitted to the osmosis on the ground. But the centuries-old debate between scientists continued. What, then, is the moon's surface? Dust or stone? If the moon is covered with thick dust, what's a spacecraft gonna drown in it? Or maybe the surface of the moon is solid, rocky. It would be so important to know designers to calculate a soft landing machine. As a photographer of the moon and the sun, he now offers to fly from the sun. Parts have arrived. In fact, an automatic lunar station, which is supposed to make a soft landing on the moon. Engines to correct the braking trajectory under the moon. The third part consists of compartments with flight control equipment, 2 of which are hinged, separated when the braking engine is activated. There are 9 Soviet Union vampires aboard the moon. Our homeland sends its credentials to the moon again. January 30, Onestes 966. It's hard to be archers. At the same time, the start had to be calculated so that the moon morning would be there by the time it landed in the ocean. The most favorable time for day temperatures is 100 degrees of heat on the moon, and the lunar night minus 150 degrees. In addition, the longest contrasting shadows appear at this time. From orbiting the Earth, satellite Luna-9 is leaving for a calculated trajectory to the moon. Earth is watching. Earth is guiding. Earth leads. At the Coordination Computing Center, the telemetric messages received from the space station are updated before the correction team is issued. Everything must have the greatest accuracy. If there is a deviation in the rate of correction of 1/10 of a meter per second, it will cause a deviation of 10 to 15 kilometers on the surface of the moon. It is necessary to direct automatic stations in outer space into the Sun before making an adjustment. And the Moon. At the same time, information on the operation of orientation systems is being transmitted to Earth. Having reached the right position in space, Luna-9 uses the propulsion system to correct the trajectory and travel to the designated landing area. After correction, the spacecraft is rotated to heat the Sun evenly on its surface. On February 3rd, 16th of Moscow Earth time, the baseline braking data was transmitted to the station. The engine shall be directed by the nozzle towards the moon. To do so, at an altitude of 8,500 miles 800 km, Moon-9 must be oriented by the Sun, the Moon, and the Earth at the center of the Moon. The optical sensors and the memory device shall maintain the chosen direction of the lunar vertical until the braking engine is activated. There's a crucial moment coming. At a height of 75 km from the moon, the radio altimeter command turns on the brake motor and separates two compartments. The landing control system is reducing the speed from 2,600 meters per second to almost zero at a low altitude above the surface of the moon. For this February 1966 year, at 21 hours, 45 minutes, and 30 seconds, the science ship made a soft landing in the ocean of a storm, throwing out antennas, pedals, and blowing out bayonets. The Moon-9 spoke to the Earth. It was the first in the world. It's a television lunar story. There she is, which moon is very close. The antenna system provides all direct radiation and provides a reliable connection to the ground. Getting extremely weak signals on Earth wasn't easy. They're 100,000 times smaller than the usual signals from homes. But great technology also made it possible for images to be taken. The moon panoramas were treated very carefully, without being chased for sensation. The scientific significance of moon panoramas is described by Professors Leibninsky and Rome. We are looking at 3 moon-like panoramas in the vicinity of the Papruga station. It's a huge scientific asset. For the first time, a man saw the moon's surface, as the cosmonauts I would ever see. These panoramas, taken at different times. The first was taken off at the height of the sun 7 degrees above the horizon a few hours after landing the station. The second half-day after the telebridge the sun increased to 13-14 degrees. The third one after 24 hours when the sun rose to 27 degrees, Margaret. Therefore, on the first side of the ground's strength, if the soil were to be loaded with soft stones.
The other side is showing that these stones are not meteorites.
These are moonstones. So the moon ground is strong enough, and there's no doubt that astronauts can walk on the moon's surface. They'll be able to work, they'll be able to set up an observatory on the moon, observatories that will serve the inhabitants of the Earth. The reporter from the Academy of Sciences has shredded Verno speaking. The measurements made on the surface of the moon showed that there was additional radiation. The intensity of this radiation is 25% of the intensity of space rays falling on the moon. It's most likely that the moon's radiation is the result of a space ray bombing. Trust me. We're gonna have Wexler's Academy on for in Dogma. We are modeling the effects of cosmic rays on the rocks that exist on the surface. The first experience in measuring radiation on the moon has shown the possibility of long-term cosmonaut activity on the moon. The existing radiation is not dangerous. The unique photographic material of the moon explores the Mikhailov Academy at the Pukov Observatory. The Ukrainian Academy of Sciences of Shub in Kharkiv finds an important confirmation of the theory of the solid construction of the lunar soil. The moon sort of entered the institutes and the observatory. She's getting closer and clearer. It's creating an accurate map of Luna-9 landing site. The offensive movement of Soviet science is so great that 2 months after a grand experiment with a soft moon landing, 9 Soviet scientists created it. The Luna-10 automatic station was withdrawn first to Earth orbit, and she started at the moon. The entire operation required exceptional accuracy, otherwise the automatic station could pass the moon or fall on it. The moon got its moon. In a speech at the closing of the 23rd Congress of the party, Comrade Brezhnev said, "As a harbinger of our future victory, an extraordinary report was made on the days of the convention. He came from the universe, and the moon's first companion passed on to the earth a tune of the Revolutionary Party anthem of all climbers. An international melody. Oh, 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 oh.